Greetings from Pintpot. Today I'm going to be taking a look at flanking. Now flanking an enemy gives you several benefits. It allows you to get closer to the enemy than you otherwise would be able to before you start the engagement, allows you to get in the opening shot, and usually gives you time to properly aim on your target before you start the engagement. Especially when you're new to the game, all these things help compensate for slightly weaker aim. But flanking enemy is much more than just creeping up on an enemy from the side or behind. Flanking effectively undermines the defense of the other side by forcing them to divert their forces to dealing with you. If you spot, it provides invaluable information to your faction members attacking the enemy, and also can provide an extreme threat to enemy vehicles. But how to go about flanking the enemy? Well, the keys to this are both situational awareness and a good understanding and use of the map. In Planetside 2, base fights usually follow a very similar structure. Defenders follow a more or less straight line from their spawn point to the control point. The attackers in turn pretty much follow a straight line from the Sundra they deploy at to the control point they're attacking. Now everyone knows where the defender is spawning because those spawn points are fixed. All you need to do is look at the minimap to see where they are. However, for attackers it's a little more difficult because Sundras can obviously deploy pretty much anywhere outside the red zone, which is the inner circle around bases where Sundras are not allowed to deploy. Therefore, as a rule of thumb, when you're defending a base and you see one area where the enemy are maintaining a pretty consistent population, that is the direction from which the Sundras are deployed. Now once you've got a pretty good idea where both sides are spawning from and where they're trying to get to, it allows you to work out how best to flank them. You effectively draw a straight line from the spawn point to the control point, taking into account buildings and stairs, etc., and then work out how to get around it. Now obviously light assaults are best adapted to this as they can just fly over obstacles, but a good flank can be achieved with any class. Maxes on the other hand are pretty much the weakest at doing this, as their acceleration is slower than other classes and they make a very distinctive sound when moving which alerts the other side to your presence. So when you're defending a base, don't just charge out of a spawn point. Take a quick look at the map and your minimap and try and work out roughly where you expect the enemy to be. Now what usually happens is the side which holds the control point tries to set up a perimeter around it. Now the vast majority of the people on the perimeter will be facing the direction from which the enemy are spawning. Therefore it becomes very difficult to rush them head on. However, this tendency of players to make a beeline between the spawn point and the control point can work to your advantage. You frequently end up with situations where everyone is facing just one direction as a result, which makes them incredibly vulnerable to you attacking from the unexpected direction. Now as a general rule, people see what they expect to see. If you rush in at the same direction where all their allies are coming from, then they will likely to hesitate if they see you, expecting only to see allies. This can buy you enough time to get in among them and deal a lot of damage before they respond. Over and above the kills you get for doing this, you'll also assist your side by weakening their defences. This because they have to weaken their defences by defending against flanking manoeuvres as well as a full-on frontal assault. Now the absolute key to achieving a flanking manoeuvre is to make sure that they don't achieve LOS on you before you get to your target. So obviously using ground as cover is a key, but also, particularly for light assaults, by hopping over roofs and going behind walls, it makes it much more difficult for the enemy to spot you before you reach the key position. Another thing to bear in mind is that if you're using a suppressor, even when you start killing the enemy, you won't appear on the minimap until they spot you. This can be useful as it extends that period of confusion where you can still rack up kills before they respond. So in conclusion, flanking is a great way to get more kills, unbalance the enemy and assist your side. And to flank effectively, you need to get familiar with how to use the map as a tool. And by anticipating where the enemy are going to be, you can counter them by flanking them. In my next episode I'll be taking a look at assaulting and defending Sundras. In the meantime, have a good one, happy hunting, and Pintpot out.